5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
On the edge of the box is Madden. Madden trying to manufacture the shot, gets it away, it's there! Oh my word! What a goal from Paddy Madden! The Irishman strikes again! And is that the goal that's going to send Stockport County back into the Football League?
If you get rid of the hair, it just looks like a really sad chicken. Hello and welcome to the show that likes to call itself the Scarf Bagara War, because that's its name. We're with you for the next hour or so, talking all things what are about county, and as ever, some stuff what is not. I'm Nick Lee. Sorry about that. And I'm joining a man once described as the best seller of mugs in the Stockport area. Well, he's managed to make me semi-marketable over the 32 years we've been doing this. It's not 32 years, but it feels like it for him. It's Russ Johnson. You all right, Russ?
Yeah, not bad. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I can grumble, but this isn't. We've quickly established this isn't the place for grumbling.
No, what have you got to grumble about this week?
No, mate, just steer the world. It's in a state of it.
Yeah, I hear you, mate. Should we crack on? Let's try and cheer you up a bit. So tonight, joined by John Kieran, obviously famous commentator from the club. Like chat with him.
Has he answered your questions?
No, because do you know what? I didn't send him the questions because I thought I don't know why.
Intimidated by the power.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I don't know why I didn't send him the question. Maybe we'll just ask him the questions while he's here, and he can think on his feet like he does every match. There you go.
Well, I hope he refuses to answer them now.
Well, he might do. He's well within his rights.
Send them to my agent. That's more post for Liam. Bloody hell.
So we've got John Kieran's going to join us very imminently. We'll get him out in a second. We've also got Mike from the Sutton Talk Time podcast. He's going to join us for a short while, just while we preview Friday's game. So first, let's get John out, have a quick chat with him, and then we'll get Mike out.
Hello, John.
Evening, John.
Evening, boys. Okay.
Yeah, you?
Oh, yeah. I've been told I can't grumble apparently. So yeah.
Well, you can, but nobody cares. So don't bother.
Nobody's listening.
Story of my life.
So usual stuff, John. If you stay with us, I mean, you asked Mike from Sutton, try and get some insight from Friday's game if you want. I mean, ask him whatever you like. He's a good lad, Mike. I was on their podcast this week for a quick chat. So let's get Mike out. We'll talk to him.
Your barometer for a good lad, is it, Russ?
What, did they invite me on their podcast? Yeah.
Have you on the podcast to flog your mugs?
I don't flog mugs on other people's podcasts.
Well, you should.
Well,
maybe you should. Maybe you should think about it.
Maybe I will. I've
been flogging him on mine.
Have you?
No,
I was going to say. Right, let's get him out. Hello, Mike.
Hello, I'm just making some notes not to ask Russ back on to flog mugs on the podcast. How are you all, chaps?
Good, yeah.
Very well,
How are you feeling about Friday's match? First and foremost.
Well, it's made my week make sense because I've been very confused all week with the short week, and then there's still football on Friday, which is like Saturday. So I'm like, okay, I'm in the zone that it's still just a normal Saturday, and I'm gonna have a very long weekend. Don't know. I don't know what to say, and I said this to you on our one. Our lot, they're a terrible, terrible bunch. They struggle for goals, and they're the kind of gits that could suddenly. The next four matches are you, Bradford, Northampton, and Orient, and they're the kind of players that could just go, you know what, we're going to win all four of them, or lose horribly. One or the other, I don't know, but I don't know. Love it, just love being there, to be honest.
Yeah, your home form's pretty good, isn't it? Last five, but your away form isn't. Okay, you're at home, but your overall form is not great. Are you pretty formidable at home?
Yeah, I mean that form table could hit the last few weeks, which all form tables do, I suppose, where we had a few draws. But a couple of weeks ago, I never knew they did this nowadays. They do the form table up to 15 games. And I was like, when did that start? But we were kind of like top over 15 games, which I thought was really bizarre considering the start to the season we had. But then, yeah, we've hit a bit of a patch. Grimsby came to ours when they should have absolutely been concentrating on the FA Cup, and they managed to beat us. We were expecting a little walkover there. We drew at Barrow, Mansfield, and Walsall. So we've kind of been a bit unstuck recently, but yeah, we're just hard to beat, really, I think is the polite way of saying it for our lot.
So you know what it's saying to me, Mick, John? It's saying get your record on a 0-0.
Yeah.
Don't go on the plus 2.5 goals is what I'm saying.
Yeah, because like we said on in the week, we're difficult to beat as well. We're really difficult to beat. So you never know. It might just like twist on its head and be a really open game. Let's hope it's 4-3 to us. How about that? There's my prediction. In terms of you said you didn't say nasty, but what
I would never say such a thing.
What was you alluding to when you first came on about you sort of gits or something?
Oh no. The players they like to put us through the mill. They
Right.
will. Just when you think it's all out, it's like the Carlitos way. Just when you think it's all out, they pull you back in. So we kind of resigned to the fact that we're not going to make the playoffs, and especially as those 4 games are coming up, suddenly the guys can just go, right, we're going to now win all 4 games, and we'll all get our hopes back up again to get smashed when Rochdale beat us. But no, they've got a reputation to be physical. I'm not going to lie, because anything you hear about Sutton is we just giants and physical and nasty. But actually, most games, I think we have more fouls against us than we actually commit, despite our reputation.
Interesting. I mean, you just said there you're not going to make the playoffs. I mean, you're not that far off, are you?
No, I think that the last couple of games have been where we should have picked up some points to teams below us. I mean, it's mad for us. We're Sutton United. We've been a non-league club for 123 years and a league club for 2 years, and then we're saying we should have picked up points against the likes of Walsall. That's insane, really. But they're below us. We should have really been taking some points and pushing on. But because we didn't get them, we're kind of like, oh, okay, maybe not this year. But do you know what? Target was always just 50 points to stay in the division and build for next year and the year after and so on.
I might start doing that. I might start for the rest of the season. I'm going to say now we're not going to make the playoffs, so that then when we do, it's a nice little treat for me. You know, I've started doing it when I go on a night out. At the end of the night, if I put my coat away, I'm not going to wear it for. I'll put like a $5 or a $10 in the coat pocket. It's like a little present from drunk me to sober me. So I'm going to do it now. Yeah, we're not making the playoffs. No, Sutton are getting ahead of us. Yeah. So it's nice little extra treat.
Yeah. Only trouble is with that plan is in a year's time when you get your coat back out, that $5 is going to be worth a Freddo Frog or something.
Well, I'm saving bottle tops as well, so I can barter my way out of any situation. Fine.
Who are we looking out for on Friday? Who are your key players?
I told you I hate this question, didn't I?
Well, I've asked it. I do my research.
I said I absolutely hate asking. It's a difficult one, and it's not me being really on the fence. It is a real team performance. I don't think we've got anyone with over 6 goals. We had Dave Adjaboy and Lee Angle come in the January transfer window, and they've both scored 3 goals since, and they're up there with the top goal scorers in our team. We've struggled for goals, but players to get you off your feet. If he's on it, Dave Adjaboy will really, really get you on your feet. Lee Angle seems to have come in and he's doing something that Sutton strikers don't do. He just shoots. And he's like, well, you're supposed to pass the ball around a little bit here and hold it up. You're not meant to actually shoot. Calm down there. Omar Bagil, you will hate. Every team will hate him unless he plays for you. Same as Craig Eastman. When they're playing for you, you will absolutely love them. But playing against them, they're definite players you won't like. But it could come from anywhere. Set pieces, depending on who we've got playing in defence, we've got Ben Goodliff, Joe Kizzy, Kobe Rowe, all can score from set pieces, all big guys, and Ali Smith and, as I say, Eastman in the middle. If they're on it, they'll be really, really difficult to break down. And then Will Randall on the left, again, can be brilliant or can be awful. But that's why they're playing for Sutton. You got to understand that these players aren't going to do it every single week.
Yeah, you sound as we would say up here, a bit minging, sort of grind out results when you need to, kind of thing, or turn on at certain points without any warning, almost.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying about the exact kind of thing that they could just suddenly go on this brilliant 4-match winning streak against the top 4 of the top 6 in the division, which would be insane, but wouldn't be beyond the realms of what they do to us. Yeah. Love them all, really.
Is Wayne Shaw still involved there? Obviously,
no, Wayne's not involved. That's a sore subject. I love Wayne to bits. He's a great guy, but for all the joke and banter and everything, it took away from a great cup run. Yeah. And it absolutely destroyed his mental health. He really suffered afterwards. Basically, he was. I don't know the full story, but I can imagine the whole thing is. Go on, it'll be a bit of a laugh, because Wayne was always up for a laugh. He's a good bloke, but go on, it'll be a right laugh. Go on, it'll be hilarious. And it was people from Sunbets, and they'd sponsored us, which that's a whole other story that we were a bit naive. I think they put him up to it, and then they just left him hang out to dry. And he went on the TV show, and the fella on the TV show got him to admit it, and then left him to hang out to dry as well. So, but no, he's a nice bloke. I don't think he's in any football anymore. He's doing something else at the moment, but he did go to Tottenham for a little while, and he was a sporting director or something like that. But yeah, he was a really nice bloke. But I think he got taken advantage of, to be honest with you. Yeah. And he did take the shine off a little bit, because we did actually just run Arsenal very, very close. Yeah. And we were a crossbar. If that had dipped in instead of hitting the crossbar, they would have rattled and we could have got to the quarterfinals, which would be insane. But yeah, no, he's a nice guy. I haven't actually spoken to him for a little while, to be honest, but check in on him every now and then.
Nice.
I was thinking about that just popped into my head while I was talking to a mate the other day. We were just talking about like non-league teams in the cup and stuff like that, and that came up. My mate said, "Oh, it's the most non-league thing I've ever seen." I was like, I'm sure they beat us in the Football League.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, we weren't even really trying. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know what the big fuss was about. The first time we ever went for it, we got promoted. What the hell are Wrexham doing? Yeah, what are they doing?
I like it. Right, final question then. Score predictions for Friday. What do you think?
I think we're going to annoy the hell out of your fans from straight away, and then we're going to nick a goal towards the end, just as you're all getting really frustrated because you can't beat little old Sutton, and then we'll go up the other end and we'll score. And I suspect the words like tin pot, pub team, the likes of Sutton, and all that will come out. You can play bingo almost if you go on your forum, not just yours, everyone's forum afterwards. It's always the same.
Can we just
your Suttons and your Barrows?
Yeah.
That'll be another one.
Full disclosure now, John Kieran's our club commentator. He will not call you Tim Pot on air. Will you
on air?
We don't care.
No, you're not bothered, are you? And that's the best part about it.
It's a badge of honour. It's like everyone who uses it, we're like, you don't really understand what that means. Yeah, we're Tin Pot and we're in the same league as you. How do you feel?
Good point. Yeah. It's great for the siege mentality. Look at what you did last season. The worst thing about last season is expectations are raised, aren't they? So people do expect you to be challenging for the playoffs again. But an amazing first season. Yeah,
the really, really good thing with Sutton, and obviously I'm massively biased, but is everyone is on the same page. You've got the chairman, the directors, the manager, the coaching staff, the supporters, the players. All the way through last season, if you were to bother going and listening back to any of the interviews they've done with anyone, everyone's just gone 50 points, 50 points, 50 points. And Gab Sutton, who was laughing at us because we'd sort of raced to 48 points and we just all kept going, yeah, 50 points, 50 points. He's like, come on, there's half a season left. We're like, yeah, we'll talk about it when we get there. Don't worry. So yeah, everyone's on the same page. This season, everyone was just like, yeah, we just want to finish top 20. We'll be fine. And then go again next season.
I think it's the John, a mate of mine used to play for John Rudge at Port Vale, and he said every single season would start the same way, 50 points, lads. And anything else is a bonus.
We need to be here. I think it's another season or two, and then we can start looking at what's on the pitch, because we've got so much work we need to do to bring the ground up to spec, because as I said, we weren't really supposed to get promoted. So there's a lot we've got to do to catch up. You guys are going to love it. You've got a nice shiny new away end. So it's the newest part of the ground, and there's a little fan zone behind there. It's a trailer with some beer and stuff, but
that's my kind of fan zone.
Exactly. That's all it was at Wembley. They made this big thing about fan zone because we got to the Papa John's final last year, and we was like, oh my god, this is amazing. We get to Wembley and there's a fan zone. And I sort of stood there going, I'm very underwhelmed here. This is really nothing special. But yeah, no, it's good. Everyone's on the same page and there's no clicks. It's very much like concentrate.
Yeah, is it a bit of a big community effort as well? Did I hear right? You were at the ground clearing the pitch, or doing something, tidying up or something recently?
Me?
Yeah. Did I hear that on your podcast?
No, there was a litter picking thing. I didn't do that. There was I go to a load of the ladies' matches.
Okay.
What you might have saw is the dugouts get flooded because
Right.
they're below the water table. And I then, had to kind of get in. And luckily, someone else turned up in shorts and sliders. And I went, well, you're virtually there anyway. Get in. But yeah, then we had to clear the dugouts. That was it.
That was
nice and fun.
Before the 7-7 draw, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was an amazing game. I was just, and like I said, I'm not being funny. The keepers weren't just picking the ball out of the net. The keepers had made saves as well, but it was just one of those crazy games that almost every attack was like, oh, it's another goal. The women's football is very much value for money. If you, especially when you watch the men's grinding out 0-0 draws and no goals or no shots on target, and next thing you go and watch 14 goals. That was quite fun.
Nice. Good stuff. Right, Mike, thanks so much for coming on. Been a pleasure.
Can I just?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So, I never ever do this because I'm absolutely rubbish. But just did a little podcast with a lady called Claire Parish from the Paul Allen Project. Claire, her dad in January 2022 was at a Fulham match and he had cardiac arrest, and he died. And she kind of started this project because she was like, what the hell are you supposed to do? So there's loads of information on her website, which is paulallenproject.org, and they're raising funds to get defibrillators, which I can't say, sort of all around Sutton. It's mostly Sutton-centric at the moment, but her ideal is like every 200 yards in the UK to have a defib. So the reason I mention it on here is there's going to be a little bucket collection on the Good Friday game. So if anyone has any change rattling around, I think I've managed to persuade her to bring a little tap card as well, so people can't say, I've got no money. It's all right, we've got a tap card. So if anyone can spare anything, chuck it in, because it is a really, really good thing, and I wouldn't normally do it for myself. I hate promoting myself, it's awful.
We're very lucky because we know Nick's got a fiver in his coat pocket.
Exactly. At least one fiver. At least one.
It's a warm coat as well, so then skills. So sorted.
But so if someone wants to listen, she does very well. She does a lot of talking, so you don't have to listen to me as much in that podcast interview. she does really good. Thank you.
No problem. Thanks for that. Yeah, so there's a bucket collection on Friday for the Paul Allen Project. I've just put the link into the chat, and I will put it into the description as well of the show.
Who'll put it into the description, Russ?
You will. I put it in the link. That's your job. Your only introduction and description. There we go. I do everything else. And
uploading and editing.
Oh yeah.
And just general good vibes.
What did the Romans ever do for me? Hey. Right, Mike. Thank you so much.
You're more than welcome, James. Thanks for having me.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, no problem. Speak to you soon. Cheers, mate.
See you later. Bye.
See you Friday. Take care.
When did flip-flops stop being called flip-flops and people call them sliders now? When did that happen? Just hit-
You see, I always thought flip-flops were the ones where you have the thing between your toes and sliders go over.
There's a technical
Oh yeah,
difference.
the fungus build-up device. Yeah, brilliant. Great. If you won't catch me wearing either anyway. I've got a certain look, and adding like sandals and socks to it won't help.
No, probably not. Probably not.
Not the same thing. I'm just getting people in the comments now, just pointing out that not the same thing. I did not realise I'd start something with this. It was just a general wondering. But
No, definitely not the same thing.
John,
how are you?
Russ?
I'm really good, mate. Thank you. Yeah, apart from having to travel on a Vancy to get back from London today, but other than that, everything's been great. Yeah, happy days.
Yes, definitely feel your pain on that, having done that recently. So have you just rushed in? Have you not even had your tea or anything, or did you get a stale sandwich?
I've had something to eat, so I'm not too bad. We're not too bad. Right. Yeah, it was all right.
Good. Just to pick up on the women's, Sutton drawing 7-7. Our women's team are flying really high at the moment, third in the league, albeit other teams have played more, but third, even at this stage with a few games to go, is an amazing achievement. So well done to Steve. We'll get him back on this show before the end of the season. Okay, let's talk county then. That's what we're here for. Shall we talk about Sutton on Friday, or do we need to do admin first, Nick? Have I got it all wrong again? I keep on doing this.
Yeah, you got it all wrong, mate. But it's all right. I love you like a brother anyway. It's fine.
There's only
good vibes.
There's only one piece of admin anyway. That Geordie Hatter's away day show is back this Saturday, 9:30.
Is it back with a vengeance? No, not back with a vengeance, because that makes it seem like he's angry. He's the least angry man ever.
Yeah.
There's one adjective to use to describe Geordie Hatter. Angry is not the one.
Who's he got on the show? Do you know?
I don't know. That'll you have to tune in from 9:30. It's not me. That makes it sound like it's. I don't want to tell people it's me just in case they refuse to listen. But no, it's not me. Not that I know of. But yeah, that's Saturday morning from 9:30. You can find the link in the episode description for the usual mix of top tunes. I've been asked today for my Half Man Half Biscuit song of choice, so we'll be playing that. See, I just contribute little tiny things everywhere, Russ.
Yeah.
And it all build up into one proper thing one day.
It will. Someone will notice one day. Okay then, Friday, Sutton. What we thinking, John? What we thinking about Friday, based on what Mike's just said and based on what you know?
I mean, yeah. Depressingly, a draw is probably the most likely result, isn't it? They are the lowest scorers in the top half. But funny enough, I mean, when they came to us earlier in the season, we beat them quite comfortably at Edgeley Park, 3-0 victory. They've had a real revival since then, and in fact, I think they've only lost twice since Boxing Day now. So, but they draw games. They've drawn far too many. I think drawn 4 of the last 6, and Saturday was a prime example of a horrible mistake by the goalkeeper, and they ended up drawing at Walsall when they looked like they were nailed on for 3 points. So, having said that, our away form at the moment is clearly what is keeping us within touching distance of those automatic places. So, I think I wouldn't call it a swashbuckling style away from home, but I just think we are a little bit more. We have a bit more freedom away from home. Teams don't set up to frustrate in the same way as they do when they come to Edgeley Park. And you can see the result of that, the 4 draws that we've had in the last 4 home games. But, look, it's still a great run. It's, what is it, one defeat in 13. It's a fantastic run that we're on. And I know he'll hate me for saying it, but these are the games, I'm afraid, that we should be going and looking to win. So, yeah, I think it'll be. I think it'll be a slog. I think it'll be a difficult game. But I must admit, I'm optimistic. I mean, the good thing about Sutton, I suppose, is from their perspective, and I was saying how they adjusted so rapidly to life in the Football League, and I think what they did, they kept that nucleus of the core of their squad together from that perhaps unexpected promotion. Finished, I think, 8th last season, as Mike was saying there, reached the Papa John's Trophy final as well. Unlucky, actually, to get beat by Rotherham in that. Although they don't score many goals, they get goals from midfield. They've got midfield runners, and they always have done. Matt Gray's always worked on that. So although he's right what he says. Technically, the top scorer I think has got 6, but I think there's a few of them on 5 or 6. I think it's they do get goals from around the team, so it's certainly not a given. They're a fairly orthodox 4-4-2. It's a team that will frustrate you, but yeah, it's a game we've got to be looking to win, isn't it?
Yeah. What's the feeling around the media team? Is there a feeling that there's only, because you all talk together on the journeys and stuff? Is there a feeling that if the final third clicks, then we've got it? It's sort of like, because it feels to me like the back line's really good. No matter who we put in there, it seems to go really well. Midfield, we're really strong, and we've got players to come back in there. Up front, yeah, we are really strong in terms of personnel, but for some reason we're just not doing it up front, are we?
It depends which of the media team you speak to. You can, if you want to be lifted, then probably go and speak to Liam. If you want to be doom and gloom by the end of the night, then have a pint with Sam, because Sam will. I think he's now worried that we might not make the playoffs, but I'm still very confident that won't be the case. We're going to be in the top 7. It's just whether we've got enough to get into the top 3. And to be fair, he makes a good point. I think at the moment, we are struggling a little bit for goals, but that defensive platform has given us real resilience, and it has been the basis for this run that we're on. 1 defeat in 13. Look, we've dropped far too many points at home in the last month, but we're still in with a shout, aren't we? And I think. Clearly be very, very disappointed we weren't top 7, but I still think that top 3 is not out of bounds of possibility, because teams drop point. Look at Stevenage stumbling a little bit, Carlisle United. I mean, that's a massive game, isn't it? That game on the 18th, Tuesday night fixture, that's going to be absolutely huge. So, I don't know how many tickets we're going to get for that, but goodness me, it'll be chocker for that one. So there's still a lot of football to be played, and we've got the Easter period as well. So as I say, it depends which of the media team you speak to on any given day, how optimistic they are.
Yeah, the Carlisle match. I don't know how many tickets we've got either, but they went on sale today, so I picked. I've got mine, so I'm going up for that. With the team, it very much feels like you've probably had this on Football Manager before, Nick. I don't know, John. Have you ever played Football Manager, Championship Manager? Any of those?
I have. I haven't had time in the last 8 years, but yeah,
right. Yeah. I'm getting less and less time these days. But it feels like I've had it since I played. I don't know, Premier Manager. You have a team where it's defending really well and not so good going forward, and you make a slight change to be a bit more adventurous or take more risks, and it just all goes to pot because you open yourself up at the back. I'm sure that's not
happened to me, mate. You're probably just not as good a manager as I am.
Probably, mate.
Yeah. No, I do. It's that little butterfly effect, isn't it? And then you find yourself going mad at like 4 a.m, like working your way back through the changes to work out what it was that messed everything up. Yeah. I do anyway. Yeah. That's why I'm single. Are you coming to bed, Nick? So we're not scoring 5 games. I don't get
it. Doing press conferences on the toilet. You ever done that?
Yeah, almost exclusively. I don't take a book in. I don't take my phone in anymore.
You don't Twitter on the shitter? No, you don't bother with that.
I'm not. Hey, that's the episode title right there. That's it.
I'll make a note of that. Sorted.
I've never heard that before. That's brilliant. Phil Lloyd.
I've lowered the tone already.
You're in good company. 778 initially for Carlisle. There you go.
It's round number.
Won't be enough.
No. Just going back to the Sutton game that we played earlier in the season. John, Classic County, said they had a man sent off for 2 minutes, didn't they? So
yeah,
that was one of the games where they went down to 10 men and we did take them to task, which is good.
We did, and it was Bugill who we were just talking about, the centre forward that got sent off. So clearly changed the dynamic. But do you know what? If you think back to like the Swindon game, how we then found it hard to break down 10 men, and obviously that can often be the case. But we didn't. We really put them to the sword in that game, and it was a really, really good win. And clearly it's against 10 men, but it was a terrific win. But it did seem, as I say, it seems to have revitalised them, and they've had a decent run since then. But it's all about expectations. And it was really interesting listening to Mike there, the way he was talking about, we'll probably miss out. But then we are capable. We could just beat these next 4, but we'll probably miss out. And it's that kind of level of expectation. Clearly, with the investment, it must be hard for Dave Challinor in a very different way now that he's got this level of expectation now, and the budget that's gone in. Mark Stott and his board of directors clearly will be anxious. They'll be wanting, given the money that they've spent, they'll be anxious to get into that top 3. So, but there's still a lot of football to play.
Yeah, is that an actual thing? Then I know they said they were going for promotion. I know Paddy Madden did as well. Would not getting promoted be a disappointment for Mark Stott?
Yeah, I genuinely think it would. I think it'll be. Again, as I say, people will talk a lot about money. Stockport County's got all this money, but there is a reality in that, and that brings with it that level of expectation and pressure. If there's anyone can cope with it, though, it is Dave Challinor, who, I've talked about him before. I wanted him as manager as long ago as 2015. You could tell he was going to be a serial promotion winner. You just knew that he had everything about him. But this is a new kind of pressure for him now. But he's, I think, he's very pragmatic. He's very unflappable. He never gets too carried away with a victory. But equally, with the exception of Barrow away, he never gets too down or too angry with a defeat either. So he tends to keep it very, very level. And I think that's good, because the last thing you want is the squad being spooked by the manager. So at the minute, I think it's a fairly nice place to be. It's a good place to be. And I think things like the open training session at the start of this week, really, really positive things to do. And there's not a lot of clubs at our level that will open the doors like that and invite people in. And I thought that was a really good thing to do.
That was a really nice choice of words there, saying spooked by the manager. Because now I'm imagining the squad as like a load of horses.
Crazy.
Because you only really hear spooked in relation to horses normally, don't you? But yeah,
well,
I don't know.
Ghosts, yeah.
Traditionally.
But they don't exist. Horses do. So
Do they?
checkmate, Kieran. We've had a comment through from Kyle Williams. The missus said, "Hey, doesn't that guy sound like the bloke off the fire stick?" Don't know what that means, because as law-abiding citizens, we would not have a clue what that joke in reference to.
Brilliant. Well done, Kyle. That's good. We don't condone it, obviously.
No. Yeah. So Sutton, I just don't know what to think. I went on their podcast earlier in the week, and he was saying, "What do you think?" And I'm like, I really don't know. I sort of said, I don't know which county's going to turn up. Okay, yeah, we're hard to beat, but we have the capability to I think to really, really turn up and roll them over and properly go at them and put, I don't know, 4 or 5. So someone's going to get absolutely smashed at some point, I think, when
I remember you used to say that when we started this podcast in August 2015, Russ.
Yeah. Well,
that should be your saying. That should be your. When they inevitably make dolls of, like, pull string dolls of us, that's what yours will say. Good stuff, and we're going to give someone a hammering.
Yeah,
that's what your doll's going to say. Yeah.
I was going to say I wouldn't have said it on the very first show, because we did the very first show on a Thursday, and I think on the Tuesday we got beat 6-1 away at Wrexham in 2015. So I don't know why we started a podcast after that. I should have just sacked it off straight away.
Yeah. You saw that Wrexham game and thought, yeah, this is what I want to talk about every week until I die.
I mean, to be fair, we have done it, haven't we? We've got Hartlepool. We really put to the sword, and so there have been games like that, and I think Connor Evans coming back. That goal's so important. The fact he got himself a goal now, and he looks revitalised, since he's come back. And he's a quiet lad off the pitch. He's quite a shy, retiring character. He's not at the forefront of all the jokes and that, but he thinks about the game, and he's a good lad. And I think the way that he's come back from Notts County now is giving him that little burst of confidence, and that goal will do him the world of good. So potentially, especially if we're missing Will Collar now for another week or two, I think he could be really important. So and he's got a goal in him. We know that from the last couple of seasons at Torquay. He's been double figures the last 2 seasons. So sometimes managers can be lucky, and you sort of look at somebody like Connor coming back and you think, actually, this might just work in our favour.
Yeah, so as soon as he was decent from the first whistle on last
Yeah.
Friday night, wasn't it? Friday night. But then, as soon as he scored, you could just see the confidence in him. Like, his game just stepped up again after that, and it's basically a new signing, isn't it? Given how much we've seen him already, it's like managed to get a signing after the window, and it could be the difference maker.
Yeah, and that's his position. I think he's not really had the opportunity because everyone else has been fit in the midfield. He's not really had the opportunity to play where he wants to play, and for whatever reason, he feels confident about getting goals from that area of the pitch. So let's hope he can deliver in the next few weeks.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, definitely. Talking about the midfield, are any of them due back?
I mean, Sars has come back, hasn't he? He came back last weekend. I thought what was interesting against Salford was the gaffer's been, I was going to say forced. It's not the right word, but he's used a back three. He's used a back three since, well, kind of the autumn, really. And it's, that led to that revival. He tried it against Shrewsbury in the game that didn't matter, and then has stuck with it ever since, until Friday when he went with the back four, put Akil right further forward. And looking at, look from what I've seen of Sutton United, I've got a sneaky feeling he might just do the same again this Friday. And I think he feels now he's got the personnel that he can actually go out and do that. So that'll be an interesting one to keep an eye on. Because if you've got Crosby and Wright, you've got that great shield then in front of the back four. And this is why we're not conceding goals, because players like Crosby in the team at the moment. Akil obviously been terrific all season. So that then gives Connor Evans a license to get forward and hopefully can contribute goals. Whilst we haven't been scoring a lot, so let's hope he can chip in now.
Yeah, feels like a spring. We're a spring that's ready to pop at some point. Maybe it's all good timing for the playoffs or a late run for third. Just to put
no matter what if we get. Sorry, well, when we get into the playoffs, whatever form we go into them in, no one's going to want to play us in them playoffs. No one's going to want to come to a full house at Edgeley Park. It's the same as I wouldn't fancy Bradford away, even though we've already won there. That's just the one I wouldn't fancy in like a one-off game. But anyway, fancy that.
I'm honestly still looking at third, because I think if you get maximum points over Easter, which is more than achievable, that puts you in a great position. And then, as I say, we've got that game against Carlisle to come, which is going to be massive. And, with the Blue and White Army in a massive show of support that night, I'm sure it's going to be. We seem to have had down the years significant games against Carlisle. I can see another one coming. So that'd be great. If we can pick up 6 points this weekend, that'd be just wonderful going into that one. Obviously Gillingham away as well, but I'm looking at that Carlisle game is absolutely pivotal.
Yeah. So
that's still the busiest I've ever seen the Railway end, the 96-97 with Carlisle in the auto windscreens. That's how busy that Railway end was mental. I've never seen anything like it since. Absolutely bonkers. And then obviously we had the game where we stayed in the league as well on the last day. It was Carlisle, wasn't it?
Yeah. And wouldn't it be nice to that final game? Let's hope Leighton Orient that have got nothing really to play for, and it's the final away game, obviously, isn't it? There's Hartlepool after that, but let's hope they've already got the title. Let them and Northampton kind of run away with it. It's Stevenage and Carlisle we've got to keep an eye on now and hope that they keep dropping points.
Yeah, and just looking at those April fixtures as well. I mean, Newport. I mean, I'm expecting us to beat Newport. Absolutely, they're down in 18th, unless they spring a surprise on us. I think they'll be hard to beat. I think they'll come with a closed mindset probably. It's the Gillingham away for me that worries me, because they are going great guns at the minute since their little turnaround, and I just can't see us getting anything from that.
Yeah, you're right. It has been a turnaround. I think the new investment that came in, they obviously spent heavily, really, in the January window, and Gillingham now are starting to look like a force to be reckoned with. So that's probably going to be that could be the game that as you rightly say, it's one that you're worried about. But I just think if you can go into it full of confidence after picking up maximum points over Easter, then it has a different feel about it then. And going to Carlisle, if they're wobbling a little bit, I mean, that, as I say, I keep repeating myself, but that is going to be one heck of a night there. It's going to be a wonderful game at Brunton Park. I'm really looking forward to that one.
Yeah, it'd be huge, that Carlisle.
Yeah.
Well, that's it's just fine margin. Like, results kind of went our way on Saturday as well. There's no results that I looked at and thought, oh no. So yeah, it's that I tend to agree. I think 6 points from these next two over this weekend, and people will be talking about top three again. I think a lot of people seem to be just resigning themselves to playoffs now. But no, I still think it's well and true. And a lot of twists and turns still to come. And no matter what twists and turns come, they won't be as heart wrenching as it all was about a year ago. So yeah, it's not as vital as last year's was. So I'll take that.
No, and it's not going to be like that again. And obviously, I think sometimes when you're in the chasing pack as well, it can be. I think it can be in your benefit at this stage of the season because it's teams, as I say, Stevenage and Carlisle sort of feeling the heat at the moment, and they know they've got the likes of us and Bradford really breathing down the neck. So it's even down to sort of Mansfield teams like that. You can't sort of rule anybody out at the moment. So that's why it's just so important just to keep on winning games if you can.
Yeah, and the good thing about this year is time hop, because all the little reminders of last season's going to start popping up, and I'm going to share the shit out of them. Just a quick one on finances. So the financial results came out. Kieran Maguire did a bit of a thread on it, which was pretty good. He's always good for that. If we focus on the agent fees, which were a lot more than everybody else, I put that down to the fact that we didn't do any actual player fees, did we? Or not much. So that hikes up the agent fees. Am I about right with that assumption?
Yeah, I mean, there have been some fees, that Tanto's come in with a price tag. So yeah, we have spent some money as well. But look, it's becoming almost a necessary evil now. Jim Gannon, when he was in charge, was really, really anti spending money on agents' fees. And whilst I was on the board, we didn't have any money to spend on agents' fees, so it didn't really make any difference then. But yeah, I've heard Jim say that the player should pay it. If the agent wants to take a cut, the player should pay it. I used to get frustrated sometimes, particularly in National League North. I used to, some of the lads would come and tell me, I'm happy to come and talk about contract. You just need to speak to my agent. I'm like, you're in Division 6. I mean, you've got a part-time job as a footballer. Please don't talk to me about agent. Honestly, I used to say to them, can your dad not do it? Is there nobody in your family? What is the point? Why are you giving 10% of next to nothing to some fella who who's got 12 of yous on his books? It used to frustrate me, and it still does. I find it. I worry sometimes with agents because their job obviously should be to do the best for their players, but in their mind, it's often try and get a move, and get more commission every single time. And I find it frustrating. And there's, I can go through players that I've spoken to in the past and just said, I think you've been, wrongly advised. But it's, ultimately it's up to them. But you can see the ones that they make a move or they leave our club, or it's not just because they leave us. There are some who've gone on with our blessing. And you go, yeah, fine, I understand why you're going. But there's others I just think, what is the point? Why have you moved on? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I know of one I can think of that fits that straight away.
There's a few. It's a shame. It's a real shame. And in terms of the amount we're spending, as I say, I think it's just if you've got the biggest or one of the biggest budgets at this level, and indeed at the level above, I think it means that it's gonna come with the territory, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like a Stockport County tax, isn't it? Because they know we've got that money. I think they're a necessary evil, agents. But the further up the divisions we go, that's just going to increase, and then the need for them is going to be more as well. I say need. It's more the players will have them, won't they? Is what I'm.
Yeah, I mean, I should. I should caveat this by saying I've met some really good ones as well. And a lot of the guys who work for the PFA, that are agents via the PFA, I've got a lot of time and respect for. And I mentioned a mate of mine who played at Port Vale. He's one of them, So I think there are good agents and bad ones. There's good footballers and bad ones as well. But I just think it's a shame that it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money being spent at the moment on agents, and I think that is a concern. But it just seems to be something that, as you say, it's almost the county tax. I think it's something we're going to have to get used to.
Yeah. Absolutely. Let me just play this short interlude and then we'll talk about the Newport match. If you're watching us on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe. And for the audio podcast, please rate, review, and recommend us on whatever podcast player you are listening to us on. Cheers, thank you. So Newport, we'll talk about Newport on Monday, and then we'll do a bit on Salford as well, because we've not really spoke about the Salford match, which was a good one. So Newport on Monday. I mean, yeah, they're down in 18th. Again, I feel like we should just be beating them, but I say this a lot. I said it all the way through non-league. I don't care who they are. We should be beating them because it's non-league, because I'm that kind of person. Their form isn't great. They're drawing a lot of matches as well. Surely 3 points for that.
Do you know, it's terrible when you're trying to stop drawing games, and then you come up against a team like Sutton, who we've just talked about, and then these have drawn 10 games, I think, since Boxing Day, which is just unbelievable. I don't even know how that's even possible. But if you look at, I think Graham Cotton's done a great job, because when he came in, I think there was something like 1 or 2 points above the drop, and now I think they're like 9 points clear, 5 games unbeaten. Again, they've drawn 4 of those 5.
Yeah.
But I do think they've got a little bit like us and a bit like Sutton. They've paid the price for a really slow start to the season, and that's what's cost them. And obviously a change of manager now with Coughlin coming in as well. But he's done a great job since he's come in, I think, and he's taken them. I mean, they're going to be fine. There's no question they're going to stay up, in my opinion. So I think, just that slow start that's really cost them. But they'll be hard to beat. They'll come. They play well. They play with a back 3, but they'll come and play with a back 5. I think Norman and Evans are the wide men. They'll just sort of tuck in at the back, and I think they will be hard to break down. They're also, and we've seen this before. They've got a lad called Mickey Dimitri, who's a long throw merchant. So he's a concern for us. And at the top end, Omar Bogle, who he seems to have been around forever. I think he scored for Solihull against us like nearly. It must be 9 or 10 years ago. We lost 1-0 down there. He's not scored for a while as well, which is always a worry when they then come towards it. It's a given, isn't it? But yeah, it's not a given. But as you rightly say, Russie, it's one where if I'm not a betting man, but if I was, I'd be putting money on us, because I think it's the kind of game that if we could have any intentions to be in that top 3, then you've got to win that one. If we don't, then let's forget it.
Yeah. Bogle did some good play to set their goal up in the reverse fixture, didn't he? I remember. Yeah,
he's a good player. And I say he's been around it. He's been around a good while. He's one of them. He scored against us. He had some big moves in his time. He'll have paid his agent a few quid. I think he went to Cardiff from Wigan, so he's done okay. Yeah. But he's when he was in the Conference North, wasn't he, with Solihull, and I think he was Player of the Year, got nearly 30 goals. Didn't quite translate then into. He went up with Grimsby and scored a couple in the playoff final there, but then couldn't quite cut it at the higher level. But at this level, I mean, he's the kind of striker that you'd hang your hat on week in, week out, and again, a player that Dave Challoner knows well. So he's one to watch. The one, funny enough, who I don't know very much about is a lad alongside him called Charlie McNeil, and he was like some wonder kid. He was playing for City as a kid, scored something like 600 odd goals for their youth team, something mental, like a ridiculous number of goals, literally hundreds for their youth team. Then went to Man United, which, odd move as a teenager. Went a couple of years ago for like $750,000 or something. And I think he would only be 16, 17 at the time. But he's on loan from Man United. He's a Droylsden lad. So he's playing up top for Newport alongside Bogle. As I say, I've not seen much of him. He only went there in the January. So, don't know much about Charlie McNeil, but he's from what people down there are saying, he's a decent player. So they've got a goal threat. They've got a couple of good lads up front. So it'll be it's not going to be a walkover. Yeah.
And if Wikipedia is to be believed, he scored once in 12 appearances for Newport. So
great.
Not prolific, but that just says, he could. Yeah. If there's a game that he's going to in front of a big crowd, that kind of thing, and he's not far from his hometown, his home club, parent club. Oh God!
I look forward to him celebrating in front of the Cheadle End at some point on Monday afternoon.
Well, let's try and be optimistic about it, because I just think, you know, as I say, we've got, there's not many in our team that you would swap for any in their team.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So you know, I always look at it like that. Man for man, we're a strong 11. You know, always have a strong bench as well. Although we don't seem at the moment to be able to change games from the bench, that's a little bit of a worry for me sometimes. You know, you look at Bradford the other week; they managed to change the game with a couple of subs, and I worry sometimes we haven't always got the personnel to do that. And I know Jack Stretton's took a while to get back to fitness. Tanto's sort of also had a little niggle as well. So yeah, it's taken a little while for them. So it's got to be the starting 11 really that do it.
Yeah. I mean, I won't say on the terraces, but I've seen a lot of comments about the substitutions, either leaving it too late or not quite sure what Charlie's trying to do with the substitutions. Is that something you buy into as well?
I think sometimes you know that sometimes it can be such a tactically nuanced change. I mean, I noticed the other week. I forget the game. We got a goal late on because he brought Jono on. Ryan Johnson come off the bench and set up a goal for Carl Wootton. And you think, wow, you know, I didn't see that coming. And so sometimes there is, you know, there's method in the madness. It's not. It doesn't always appear to be a straightforward swap. But I think sometimes, you know, if it's not working up front, then you do have to try something different. And Jack Stretton's a good player. You know, we've seen him before. He is a really, really good footballer, very talented. We saw in his first spell with us scoring goals for fun, and Tanto with his pace as well. I don't know what the answer is. Whether they're players who need to come on a bit sooner in games, whether they need to start games, whether they're not players who can make an impact on the bench. I'm not really sure yet. But we are clearly heavily reliant on Woods and Paddy, and you know what? There's nothing wrong with that because they are two of the best strikers in League Two. So it's not necessarily the worst idea to just see what you can get out of them before you do make a change.
Yeah, definitely. What's the deal with? I don't know if you know anything more about this than what's been said, but Ollie Crankshaw, I think he was at the training session on Monday.
Yeah,
I heard that there's been a manager change at Motherwell, so he's now training with us. He's not in favour. He can't play for us.
Can't play for us. He's not registered.
Yeah. You've answered your own question, Russ. Brilliant.
Okay. So, you see, we often get criticised on the show for not doing our research. Well, there you go.
Yeah,
that was live research.
That was no. I heard about that the other day.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of them, isn't it? You kind of, whether it's something the club would have liked to have kept under wraps or not, but then we have an open training session and he's there. And with his long flowing locks, you can't miss him. It's quite easy to spot, isn't he? So it's nice to have him back. It's just a shame if he can't play any football. I feel, really feel for him. It's not worked out, has it?
No, and it's one of those things where, I mean, obviously he was there. It's obvious he was there, but if it's known that he's back, he can train with us, but he can't play. I think fans accept that. They accept that the deal's not, that's the way the deal is. I personally would have liked him to have come on because we've just literally spoke about changing the game off the bench. He can do that. Whatever you think about him, can't he?
Yeah, he can. He's a player who's got that ability, but I think, unfortunately, what's happened because we brought in Stretch, we brought in Tanto. I think there's players who've obviously got. It's as simple as that. It's not a reflection on him as a footballer. It's more a reflection on the fact that, to use Dave's phrase, an embarrassment of riches is, and again we still have because we've spent heavily at that top end of the pitch, and those lads will come. They'll come good. I mean, I have no doubt about that. Particularly Stretch, I think he's a fabulous player.
Yeah, here's a good question though. I don't know how you pronounce his second name. Tim Ordus, is it? Would he be available for the playoffs? I guess not. It's a season thing, is it?
I wouldn't have thought so, but it's one we can check. We can check with the gaffer this week. Yeah. But I wouldn't have thought.
He's not registered in the squad as of. That's the reason Evans is registered, because Evans left after we'd registered. So Evans was registered and then he went out on loan. So when he came back, he was still registered, whereas Crankshaw wasn't registered because we had to make space to register players.
Yeah. So Crankshaw.
Trying not to look smug with myself. I just caught a glimpse of my face, like you look like a smug twat, Nick.
That's good. I'm sat here thinking, how does that work on Football Manager? Is that because? Is that because?
This is what it all comes to.
I know. Is that because Crankshaw's his squad number still his squad number, isn't it? It's just that you have that 25 player registration, don't you? Whatever it is.
Yeah.
We've still got his number. They're not taking his number off him. No one's suggesting that, Ross.
Okay.
But yeah, he's gonna. You know, it's a real shame for him, and he's very unfortunate with the change of manager up there. There's not a great deal he could do about that.
No.
So
change system and everything there. That he's not getting any chance.
Good lad though. So let's hope there's better for him in the future.
Yeah. Absolutely. Just a bit of a chat on Salford then on Friday. A strike worthy of winning a match to equalise. Questions over the space that the lad had on the edge of the box. I mean, I don't know what to say about that. But if we talk about the positives, full house. The courtyard was absolutely chock a block. The queues to get in were just stupid. Which is good. It's good, but it's frustrating, but it's good, to see it like that.
You can get a pint in the Cheadle end now as well, so swinging roundabouts.
Well, there is swinging roundabouts. What I tend to do, just I thought not that anybody's interested, but I'll tell you, is have one on the courtyard when it's not busy, and then go into the ground when it starts getting busy in the courtyard. See,
it is funny with that courtyard because when the club rang me and they said like. Don't know how busy you are on a match day, and I said, "Oh yeah, really busy." And they were like, "Any chance you can do a bit before home games in the county courtyard?" And it's one of them things where
what, singing, comedy, what?
Well, yeah. So what we do, JJ tends to bring it. I mean, it was great last the Salford game because we had Sam Minion came back, obviously complete county legend, and Ash Williams was there as well, who luckily I've been able to stay in touch with him anyway over the last 20 years, but it's great that he still comes back to the club where he got his first contract, and he speaks so fondly about Jim Gannon, about his time here. So it's great to have people like Ash turning up for things like that. So so we do like 10-15 minutes or so with either current squad members or with ex-players who've come back to watch the game. So, but you know what it's like. When they first said it, I didn't know whether it was going to be a success or not. The courtyard, I could have turned up. They'd be like. 2 men and a dog, couldn't I? You just don't know.
And, my stand-up gigs.
But no, you think to yourself, I don't want to be a soak because they'll think it's me. But then you turn up and it was quite busy, the first one, and it has grown and grown and grown. And I think what's nice, I mean, I've got an 8-year-old son, and when I take him to games, I always think like, it's great having the Bobby and the Prince Albert and places like that, but it's not appropriate for an 8-year-old. I don't think. I wouldn't take Sammy in the Albert, but a great place. You can go and have a pint in the courtyard. You can take the kids. It's family friendly. There's activities for them. The food's great. It's not that expensive. Nobody's been ripped off. And I just think with that little bit of entertainment, we've got Danny McCabe, who's a great musician who comes and plays there as well. So I just think it's worked really well, much better than I thought it would. I was a little bit, if I'm honest, I was a bit skeptical when Olivia messaged me and said, "Oh, do you fancy doing it?" And I was thinking, what if I do it and it's absolutely crap? But it's not. It's really, really good. And it's where I would go now before a game. It's exactly where I would go. So I'm really pleased at how that's worked. And of course, because it's Mark Stott and Tom Mahon, the new CEO, they want it right. Jake Atkinson's a top lad there. Mel, who looks after the all the corporate side of things, fantastic, and they've got it right. And I'm really proud to be involved in it now. And it's one of the things, as I say, I was a bit nervous, a bit apprehensive because it's not. How can I put this nice? It don't feel like county. It's not the sort of thing county do. We don't do fan zones and all. It's not something that we do. But now we're in the league, but we've done it with a county twist. We do miles better food than anywhere else. And it's interesting to listen. Mike was talking about the one at Sutton. I don't know if you had the displeasure of seeing the one at like Barrow. I mean, it's terrible. If it rains, everyone just gets wet. It's as simple as. Whereas ours, it's undercover. It's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. So well done to everyone involved in getting that off the ground. It's been it's wonderful, and it looks like it's been a money spinner. Like Russ, like you said, it was absolutely rammed on it the other night.
Yeah, it's rammed, but you know what? The service at the bars is fast. Mm. It's not slow to get served, and in the ground as well. I know
and the bottle bar helps, doesn't it? If you obviously if you're going to serve bottles rather than wait for a pint of Guinness to be poured out, it's going to be quicker. So I think that always helps. And you get the bottles from other outlets, so it works really, really well. Because there were teething problems that first week. There were long queues, and there was a queue like right across the front of the stage, which was a bit off-putting. So people like queuing for a hot dog and like having to listen to us. But now people come by choice rather than because they're in a queue. So yeah, it's anything that goes. There is something good about it in that, you know, anything that's wrong, it's fixed like so quickly now. And Mark and his team are just they're just brilliant. And so it's something it's something we've done that didn't necessarily feel like county, but now it does. It really does.
Yeah,
you don't want to be putting your name to shit, do you? This
Absolutely.
is the Scarf Guy. Did you like that link? Absolutely on it. Don't forget, if you watch on YouTube, press the like button and check out our Patreon where you can get the audio episodes 36 hours early. Carry on.
oh,
You didn't
I
do
like
it before us, so
No, I
I'd
didn't do it. No, I didn't do it. I'm all a bit tardy tonight. I do apologise for that. But the game itself, good goal by Lemon Hay Evans, and I thought at that point, hey, we're gonna. This is the 4-5-0 that we're gonna do again. Yeah, and it's going to be Salford that we do it to. Nice to see fans in the railway end as well. Have we got fans in the railway end for Newport or not?
I don't think we have.
I don't think so. No,
I don't think that's going to be the case for that one. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I thought particularly first half, I thought we were terrific. And you talk about fine margins, and you know, if Paddy scores, and he should score, he knows that. If he scores after quarter of an hour to make it 2-0, I think the game's in the bag after that. Given the way we defended in recent weeks, you know, I think we'd let in 1 goal in 6 games or something prior to Salford. I think there'd been 1 shot on target in the previous 5 against us, which, you know, that's an incredible statistic. And I don't, you know, whether you buy into all this expected goals and all that stuff, but expected goals against, we're absolutely top of the tree at the minute. So, but yeah, we just have to be a little more clinical at the other end, and that was proved, I think, with that miss by Paddy. You knew they were going to come out and have a go second half. They did. In the end, a draw's a fair result. They deserved something out of it. They were decent. It was quite entertaining from where I sit. You know, where I sit in the ground to the right, looking across at the director's box with all those.
So celebrity spotting. It
was just mad, wasn't it? Absolutely mad. And I still find it really strange because I like that. There's a lot of people at Salford I've got a lot of time for, but you just think, it just seems to, the whole thing just seems to have plateaued a bit now. And Gary Neville seems to have lost interest. He's stepped back as chief executive officer now. Nicky Butt's CEO, which I never thought I'd be saying that. So it is a bit strange. But look, good luck to them. But they deserved a point. They deserved a point.
Yeah, I think they did in the end. Talking about XG for and against, one of the other podcasts who does the lower leagues does put a tweet out every now and again with these for the division, and I think we are up there as one of the most XG in the attacking third and one of the least XG in the defensive third. So, and that's what fills me with this confidence that at some point we're gonna batter somebody. I can feel it at some point, just because of those stats. There was another one as well that was in our favour, but can't remember what it might be goals scored and things like that. So yeah, it's all looking good. It is all looking good. Actually,
I think I'll tell you what would be nice would be, you know, if we, for argument's sake, say we can get to a position after Easter where we secure that place in the top 7, so we know we're at least in the place, but there's still that chance of top 3, still that outside chance. Wouldn't it be great to just go for it and maybe drop Paddy back as a number 10, go with Tanto and Kyle Wotton, or I don't know, or Stretz and Kyle? You just try something a little bit different, and that might result in what you've just described there, Russ. That opportunity to really smash somebody. And it'd be nice just to try that. I just think at the moment maybe we can't do that because it would be too gung ho.
Yeah,
I've been banging the Paddy as a number 10 drum for about a year and a half, so it's nice to see it gaining some momentum now.
Yeah, he's kind of turned into Harry Kane anyway, hasn't he? The way he just drops deep anyway and spins off it, and then his quality of pass and his vision though is great. And if he plays out to the flanks and then gets himself in the box, he'll still score goals. So he has been a wonderful player for us, and great to see him clock up his 100th appearance as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and if, unlike Harry Kane, if Paddy got smacked in the face, he'd probably smack the lad back rather than going down on the floor and rolling around, wouldn't he? To be fair. So yeah, just a bit about Gary Neville and Nicky Butt and Chris Casper when they got out of their big shiny car, which was next to the courtyard. There was one person that booed, and he was with us. It was Dave Philbin's brother. Dave, I don't know what your brother's name is. I'm sure you'll let us know in a second. There was one boo, and I was really disappointed that nobody else booed. I thought there'd be more boos for Gary Neville when he got out of his
It's
car.
just booing. You're just booing the owners of some Tin Pot non-league outfit, aren't you? Really, at the end of the day.
This is true. This is true.
Right.
Right.
The little daft kid at school, isn't it? Well, they didn't laugh at me, so.
I was going to say, I was a little daft kid. Oh, good stuff. Right. Shall we think about wrapping it up there?
Yeah, let's do it.
John, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure, as always.
Real pleasure. Great to see you, boys. And I hope to see you at game soon. And apologies, I wasn't swerving you the other day, Russ. I did mean to come and see you, but honestly, it was so busy pre-match. But I will come and see you before the next home game.
Totally understandable. Yeah, we'll get that. We'll get that picture of that mug.
Sort that out.
Oh, yeah, and if anybody didn't know, we have got mugs of sale.
See, I'll segue in there for you.
Yes. Yeah, I love it.
Beautiful.
This is when you know you've got a proper broadcaster on, isn't it?
Brilliant. Enjoy your trip down to Sutton on Friday. And yeah, we'll see you soon. Don't forget to like and share the video, and we will see you all next week. See you later. Bye.
Bye. This episode of the Scarf Bagara War was written, recorded and produced by Russ Johnson and Nick Lee. The music on the opening titles was produced by Dan Johnson. Subscribe wherever you get your content, as well as finding out how to join the TSBW fan club. Check out the links in the description or go to all the W's, scarfbagarawar.co.uk.